program will also be saved later so that we can, you can go back and reference it later. So good morning, and I'm gonna hop over to Sheila and let her go through a couple technical things with you.
Good morning, I'm Sheila Colum, and I am happy to be here. I know that this is a pretty emotional time going on right now, and I feel like even though this topic for us was planned, like 3 months ago, I think that it is perfect timing, and I know that Brenda's message is going to resonate and be really helpful. On the technical side, so for Zoom, if you're having any trouble hearing us, go ahead and check your system settings. And if you're still having trouble, you can go ahead and call or text 480-442-5806 for some help. And I think Jessica already talked about bringing up your chat button. Please do engage in the chat so that we can not just listen, but get to know each other. You also have some control over how the display is for you, depending on what device you're in. You may have, if you're on a desktop, you should have some controls above the video screens that give you different options for viewing. So just keep that in mind and go ahead and play with that while you're in session, and enjoy.
Thank you, Sheila. So today we are going to be tackling the job search obstacle course. We're going to talk about age, race, and gender. So Brenda Cunningham has done this talk for us before, and it was just such perfect timing with what's going on in our country and the unrest in our country right now. And she gives a great message of how to navigate all of that while you're in career transition. Then we're going to hear from Desert Financial, Robert from Desert Financial, and then Nick from Tech Systems. We will then, they're both hiring companies today, and then we will close it out with just some information on how you can connect with our career coaches. We have a lot of resources at the end, and so if you are a first timer and have never been to a Career Connectors event before, welcome, welcome, welcome. You're in the right place at the right time. We are glad you're here today. And if you're back with us again, welcome back. We are here all throughout your career transition. We hope to start live events again in July in the Phoenix area, but we will continue these virtual events to serve our community and the United States as well. Anyone in career transition is welcome to join us. And so I launched this program in 2009. And so it's been 11 years now. And back in 2009, we were in the middle of a recession and there was a great need. And then we feel like we're all the way back around again and feeling like we're serving at a large capacity of people that are just unsure of a next step to take, maybe have never been in career transition before. And it's time for you to find some resources and support. We are here for you. That's why we're here. That's why we do this program. So I am going to take just a minute and introduce Brenda. And again, just as a reminder, as you are jumping on this morning, just drop where you're calling in from into the chat. It's on the bottom bar. Into the chat, drop where you're from, where you're calling in from, and what kind of job or industry you are interested in looking for. And then also go out and get your LinkedIn profile URL and drop that in the conversation today. So all throughout our conversation today, you are welcome to ask questions in the chat. We have Julia Turan on the line who is managing all of those questions, and we'll make sure that Brenda, as well as our hiring companies, answer those questions during their break times or during their moments of pause. We will make sure that those questions are addressed. And then we are, Robert and Nick and Brenda, our speakers, will also be engaging in the chat today, not while they're speaking necessarily, but during the event. So feel free to throw questions out. You can, again, directly contact each of them and send them a direct message through the chat. So we're, even though this is virtual, we're doing our best to connect and connect with each other in a virtual format. So without further ado, Brenda Cunningham is here today. She is the CEO of Push Management and is a certified professional resume writer, a certified job search strategist, and credentialed career manager. Her company provides one-on-one portfolio development, LinkedIn profile writing, and corporate outplacement services to major brands throughout the United States. She is the author of Crush the Pink Slip, Get Back to Work in 60 Days, and she is on a mission to provide practical resources to professionals in career transition. Brenda is the president of the Resume Writers Council of Arizona, and she served on the board of the National Resume Writers Association for 3 years. Having spent 9.5 years in corporate America as an engineer and a program manager for a global multi-million-dollar manufacturing company, also having supported dozens of emerging leaders, she is well equipped to help you navigate the corporate ladder. Please help me welcome our very dear and good friend, Brenda Cunningham. Yay!
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. This is amazing. And I know that Sheila is going to let me take over here. There we go. All right. So I wanted to start by really addressing the elephant in the room, but let me kind of go back to the fact that every December I take 2 weeks off. And that is at the end of the year. It's right at the transition between one year and the new year. It's around Christmas and as you're kind of entering into that fertile territory of a new year. And I do that because it's such a fertile time. It's such an ideal time to think through some things, to gravitate toward maybe even a word for the year. People set goals. There are lots of things going on. But this year was different. Something was very, very different in 2019, crossing over into 2020. And I didn't come up with a word of the year. I didn't do that in December, nor did I do that in January through the middle of May. And it was right around the middle of May that a word came to me, and it stuck with me and it resonated with me. And that word was timing. And so this year, my word for the year is timing. Not that timing is always going to be perfect, but that I seem to be particularly paying attention to timing on this year. And so as Sheila and Jessica have both alluded to, we scheduled this talk months ago, and yet the timing is absolutely perfect for today. And so I just want to thank you guys for the opportunity to speak on your platform and to hopefully share some insights, some solutions, and just some real life with the listeners here today so that we could continue to hopefully move forward. Now, again, I mentioned the elephant in the room, and some of you may be looking at me thinking, oh, well, she is our token Black person for the hour. And that is not the case. I am not the token Black person. There may be some of you who know Black history way better than I, and yet I am here speaking to you, hopefully to bring some unity and hopefully, again, to move us in a more positive direction as we shift forward. I want to encourage you guys right now, before I jump into the careers and matter of fact of job search, there is a very real issue that our nation is facing right now. We see a lot of hashtag Black Lives Matter. We see hashtag All Lives Matter. And these things can be a little bit tricky to navigate. I will be speaking some important food for thought, because I don't believe that my opinion is the only opinion, nor do I speak for every Black person on planet Earth. And so I am here to just share one person's point of view. I want you to understand that when I grew up, I was singled out in different situations. When I grew up, I was followed around in retail stores. When I grew up, I was called the N-word. These things did happen to me. And yet it wasn't until these past few years that you started to see these beautiful Black lives senselessly taken from us by the people that we were supposed to be able to trust, that you see why there is all of a sudden a boiling point. It's not that the death of George Floyd was somehow more important than any of the other losses. It's just that that was the straw that broke the camel's back, and it cost us to cross over into a state of real frustration and anger and upset. And so this is why right now the focus is on hashtag Black Lives Matter. And I wanted to just say that for those of you who may not fully understand why we should care, why you should get involved, why you should speak up. And it is so super special when I see folks that maybe are not of color who are standing up and speaking up and standing with us. And so thank you. And yes, we're hurting, we're sad, we're angry, we're disappointed, but right now we are going to choose as best we can to move on. Okay, oops, hang on. So let me introduce myself. My name is Brenda. And if you cannot tell, I am Black. I am a woman. Now I have to make a on-the-fly edit to this slide because last year at this time, I said I am married to a man who is over 400 pounds, but this year I am married to a man who is just under 400 pounds because he is actively doing his thing and losing some weight, so good on him. I'm a former engineer. I wear my hair the way that it grows out of my scalp. I am a Christian. I'm over 40. And believe it or not, with all those credentials that Jessica read, I do not have a degree in career management. Okay. And so technically speaking, I shouldn't be qualified to come talk to you today, right? I don't have a degree. Who does she think she is? I'll tell you who I think I am. But the point is, this job search process is absolutely way harder than it probably needs to be. And this is just truth. I definitely want you guys to be participating in the chat because if I'm saying something, if I gloss over something and you want me to go deeper, I want to hear that. And Julia is going to chime in and tell me when that happens, and I'm going to be extremely attentive to her. Okay, but let's face it, there are some things that are making this job search obstacle course more and more difficult to navigate. I want you to understand how we got here. Okay, so once upon a time, you could walk into a place of business with your resume and talk to somebody and probably get an interview, and they'll decide on the spot if you're going to be hired or not. And then we had this thing called the internet. And now all of a sudden, people are applying for jobs over the internet. They're attempting to access opportunities by the dozens, by the hundreds, by the thousands, right? All of a sudden, hundreds and thousands of people are applying and vying for the same position. And so how can a recruiter, how can an HR leader filter through all those different applications, still try to keep the process as fair and equitable as possible? And the truth is, it's very difficult to do that. And so then we put in systems like applicant tracking software and these things that will scan your resume. And so we put these systems in place to try to make that process easier. And so instead of sifting through 100 or 1,000 applications, I could have the machine do some of the scanning for me and filter it down to maybe the top 10, 15, 20 candidates. And from there, I have a more manageable set of applications that I can sift through. Okay. And so this is where this process is where so many people are getting held up. And so we're going to talk about it from a couple of different perspectives. The first of which being, if you have no degree. And so sometimes you encounter a job posting and you are super excited about it, and it's something that you know you could do and you've done it before and it sounds just right, and you are so happy that you see it and it exists where you live and you don't have to relocate. But then there's that dreaded line that says must have a college degree, must have a Bachelor of Science in something, something. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some instances where you have to have a degree, right? I do not want you to be my medical doctor if you do not have a degree. Please do not show up for the job if you do not have the MD behind your name, okay? I do not want you building my rocket ships, my airplanes, if you have not been formally trained by people who know how to build rocket ships and airplanes. I don't want to be in a building constructed by somebody who has not gone through the proper training to make sure that they know how to do so safely. But we're not talking about those kinds of jobs right now. We are talking about other positions where a degree would be nice, but you know you have been able to successfully complete that work without one. So let's think about that. So sometimes a degree is required, but oftentimes experience will trump education. And so I think about the fact that sometimes you look at somebody's resume, the education section is closer to the top versus all the way at the bottom. Why is that? That is because that person has not yet experienced a whole lot of time in that industry. And so they are leaning on their education for now. But then there comes a point in time where you have a couple of years of experience, 5 years of experience, and it's like, wait a minute, I don't really even use the stuff that I learned in school anymore. I have really kind of surpassed my bachelor's level education. And so perhaps my experience should start to speak for itself. Now, what if you are the kind of person who started down the college path? You started down this path toward a certification or toward a diploma. And for whatever reason, life got in the way. I know quite a few people like this. I am one of these people, at least on the master's level. I started a master's degree, life got in the way, and I promptly stopped pursuing that master's degree. And so does that mean that I should not get any credit for being nearly 50% done with a master's degree? Didn't I demonstrate the ability to learn at that very high level? Didn't I demonstrate that? And because I demonstrated it, shouldn't I get some credit for it? And so if that's you, then I want to give you the first solution of the day. All right. And so let's think about this. You started a degree, you didn't finish it. Put the degree on your resume anyhow. Let me show you how. You will phrase it like so. Bachelor of Science, in parentheses, BS. There you go. In the field of study, what was your major? Did you pursue a Bachelor of Science in marketing? Did you pursue a Bachelor of Science in finance? Did you pursue a Bachelor of Science in whatever, information technology? So you fill in that blank, include the name of the university, but then finally in parentheses, we're going to put a little disclaimer. And that disclaimer is going to read, some coursework completed, right? And that way we're painting a more complete picture of what was actually accomplished. We're not getting credit for having earned a degree. We're telling the whole truth by saying some coursework completed. But at the same time, we are giving ourselves a leg up when it comes to those applicant tracking systems, because that is one of the key terms that they're going to be searching for on our resume. And if they don't see it, they will just completely ignore your candidacy. Okay. So I'm seeing some things in chat, but Julia, you holler at me if there's something that I need to address. All right. And so let's really think about that. That is such an important thing. And now, what if you never went to college at all? Because you may be like, I don't know, my son is kind of like teetering and tottering over college. He's going into senior year of high school, and it's kind of decision time. But there's more than one path in life, right? Not everybody needed to go to college. Some people went to trade school. Some people earned certifications. Some people went to the military. And so some of those experiences, they count too, just as much as a college degree. And so don't be deceived into thinking that just because you don't, or you haven't earned a college degree, that somehow you are unworthy to pursue certain positions. Because I think that that is incorrect. Okay. Like I said at the beginning of this, I do not have a degree in career management, and yet I have helped hundreds and hundreds of individuals with their career transitions successfully. One person I just met with literally a few weeks ago, and she's on LinkedIn updating her new position in the middle of a pandemic. And she's a CFO with no college degree. My husband, whom I love, he went to school for about a semester and a half, went to college, realized college wasn't for him. He wanted to get right into the workplace. And you know, my husband now earns more today than I did as a degreed engineer without the college degree. And so that is meant to encourage you if you are in this lot of people who have pursued a college degree, didn't finish it, life got in the way, or you didn't pursue one, you did some other things. Now, this is not licensed to simply say, well, I got my high school diploma, that should be good enough. That is not licensed to say that. It is an opportunity for me to share with you that if you don't have a college degree, it's not the end of the world, but don't let that make you too comfortable. You can pursue things like certifications. You can pursue online training. You can do things like join up with professional organizations that are going to help you to know the best practices of your industry and really just be on the cutting edge, the leading edge of what's coming, so that you are in good position to be able to handle those things. I think I saw a question pop up. I'm going to pause right here before I jump into the next obstacle and just invite any questions. Julia, do we have anything that I need to address?
The only thing that I've seen so far is asking if we need a LinkedIn.
Yes. Yes, you do. So that doesn't necessarily tie into what I was saying, but it absolutely is crucial. One of the major things folks are going to do if they are even remotely interested in hiring you, they're probably going to Google you. They're going to look for you digitally. And LinkedIn is one of the just most reliable, most popular, well-known sources for qualified candidates that's in use today. And so I will go so far as to say LinkedIn is not optional. Okay, and so keep that in mind, because we're talking to a professional audience here. Look, now if I'm talking to you and you're like, I want to drive trucks, great, good on you, but I don't require the same involvement with LinkedIn for you and my blue collar brothers and sisters as I do for my white collar professionals who are pursuing account management, sales positions, marketing, right, information technology, specifically things to do with with technology, you're telling me that you've kept up with technology and you are unaware of the importance of LinkedIn. And so I would challenge how connected you are with technology if that was your testimony. Okay.
We also have the one about, they're asking if you can also claim credit for working toward an associate's degree.
Absolutely. An associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, a doctoral degree, anything that you started and have at least completed some portion of, right? I'm not talking about you showed up for the first semester and you dropped out within a few weeks. I'm talking about you completed at least some of the coursework. Then you can go ahead and use that phrase, some coursework complete. And if you were almost all the way done, then I would start to go ahead and put percentages like 90% complete, 90% of coursework complete. And so you can gauge, but if you're about 50% or less complete, then I would just say some coursework completed. And that way you're just telling the whole truth. All right. Anything else before we move on?
We got another related to education. What happens if your formal education is unrelated to your new pursuits?
Ooh, so good. And so sometimes all that I care about when I ask you for a bachelor's degree is that you have the ability to learn at the collegiate level, that you have the ability to master new concepts very quickly, because that's the pace of college, right? It's read 2 chapters by tomorrow, be ready to discuss it in class. It's read 10 chapters by next week and be able to defend your position on this particular thing. And so college is about the ability to rapidly learn and master new concepts. And so if that's what we're trying to demonstrate, then I don't care what level of college you were at. Yes, you should definitely just tell me that you have earned a degree, and then really de-emphasize all the coursework and all of that sort of thing if it was an unrelated thing. And I see it all the time, right? You went to barbering school, you went to beauty school, and now you want to be an architect. Like, those two things don't necessarily go together, but so sometimes you are going to have to get selective on what things do remain on your resume, which things are going to ultimately be excluded, especially if you have more than one kind of educational path. So if you fit that example, right, you went to beauty school, but now you want to be an architect and you have an architectural degree, there is no need to include the beauty school information because it doesn't necessarily go together. However, if all you have is the associate's degree in information technology, and now you're like, no, I want to get into sales, then go ahead and just show them that I have that ability to learn at the collegiate level, and I would go ahead and include it. And so that's really a case-by-case basis. If you're unsure, talk to me, ask questions, but I hope that general overview helps the person who asked the question. Thank you. All right. Okay. And so our next obstacle here is gender and sexual orientation. And so my biggest comment here, there's not a lot that we're going to say around this, except, again, look at my little identification card at the beginning of this. I am Black, I'm a woman, right? All of these things that should, quote unquote, disqualify me. Do you know how many women were in my engineering class? Right? There were, yeah, Sheila, you held up 2 fingers, but yeah, there were just like a few, like maybe 4 in a class of 100. This was a total male-dominated industry, and yet there were a few women, and then within that, how many Black women? Forget about it, right? And so what? Can I do the job? Can you do the job? And so bottom line is here, I don't care about what's going on in your bedroom. I don't care. What I do care about is your ability to do the job. right? So we're going to talk about that. A lot of times women will disqualify themselves because they don't feel like they don't want to put up with the kind of the male dominated society. They don't want to put up with it. They don't feel like they can handle it. I want you to focus on your ability to do the job. If the job posting says must be able to lift 75 pounds, don't say they didn't give me a chance because I'm a woman. No, they didn't give you a chance because you probably said I can only lift 50 pounds. They said they need somebody who can lift 75. If you cannot, then you are wasting their time. You are wasting your time. Pursue things that you can physically and mentally do. Don't worry about these things. Yes, there are real, again, we talked about it in the beginning, right? I laid out the elephant in the room. I just put them right in the spotlight. Because the bottom line is discrimination, whether we like it or not, it's real. It exists. It shouldn't, but it does. And so now that we know that, we can focus on the issues at hand here. So I don't care if you're a woman. I don't care what's going on in between the sheets. I don't care what bathroom you need to go to. Can you do the job? What can you do for me? And so often the challenge is, or the gap is that your resume is not even articulating what you can do for me. You are still using maybe outdated resume practices. You still have an objective that talks about you wanting to grow and develop within the company. You have not demonstrated your mastery of technology. You have not given me any examples of magnificent accomplishments. But you think that it's because you are a woman. You think that it's because you are bisexual or lesbian or gay. You think that these are the reasons, and oftentimes it's because I never even looked at your picture. Your resume didn't make the cut. And so please understand that you must articulate how you are the right candidate to them in the first place. You are not even, half the time, you're not even giving them the opportunity to judge you on the basis of your sexual orientation or your gender. They are discounting you from the onset because your resume never made the cut. And I want you to keep that in mind. Here we go. We ready? Okay. So look, I use this statement. I say, stop pulling the race card every time. Why do I say that? Because everybody in the world is not a racist. They're just not. We have a few bad apples, certainly bad actors that have spoiled the good name of plenty of wonderful law enforcement professionals. Wonderful, wonderful people that you would love to know, be honored to serve with. And yet we have a few bad actors that are ruining it. And so we cannot hold everybody to that same kind of put them all in the same lens. Can't view them all the same way. Not everybody hates you. Not everybody wants to see harm done to you. Some people genuinely love you and want to see you have every opportunity available. They just want that. And so let's take a look at this. Sometimes, I have to preface this with the word sometimes, it has nothing to do with your race, with your gender, or your age. Rather, it's about a lack of connecting with your audience. Do you still think it's okay to use a high school looking resume and get paid $80,000? Do you think I should give you a chance when you don't have any relevant experiences to speak of? You're using the same channels as everybody else. You're on Indeed, you're on, I don't know, ZipRecruiter. You're just following the same pathway as the masses, using the same front door techniques. Everybody's knocking on the front door, and you are forgetting about the side gate. There is a back entrance here. We're going to talk about it in a minute, but clue, it's called a network. People who know you, people who will vouch for you, people who will advocate for you and be your cheerleader and say, hey, I know you haven't met her, but she's amazing. You are going to love her. You need to have a conversation with her. These are some of those backdoor mechanisms that we so often fail to use. But again, we think they didn't hire me because I'm Black. Could it be because your resume wasn't robust? Could it be because there were just hundreds of other more qualified applicants? Could it be that? Could it be that you did not articulate to me your value? Could it be your marketing and not your race? And so I want you to focus on that side of ownership for just a moment. Again, I'm not saying that racism doesn't exist. I'm saying, is there something we can do to put ourselves in a better position if you feel like you have been a victim of racism? Particularly in the job search, right? I'm not talking about racism as a whole. I am so poorly underqualified to have that conversation. I am talking about this in the context of job search because that's how I am wired. I'm wired to care about your careers. I'm wired to see where there are disparities, and I'm wired certainly to offer solutions. So let's get into it. I want you to understand that a lack of fit does not translate to, I'm not hiring you because you're Black. Sometimes it is truly just that simple. If the way you conducted yourself, if you were late to an interview, if whatever, it may have had nothing to do with the color of your skin. But I saw something on your resume that led me to believe maybe you're not the right fit here. Or we had a conversation and the way you responded said, I don't know, maybe that kind of attitude is not going to do well here. Or maybe that kind of attitude could be perceived as toxic to this workplace. That probably has nothing to do with your race and more to do with you, your personality as an individual. Okay. And so keep these things in mind, that sometimes it is not your race. It may very well be your marketing. And if you're unsure, because I'll tell you, right, one of the beautiful benefits of Career Connectors, which is why I love this organization so much, is they've thought through all these little mechanics, right? They said, hey, people are struggling with their resumes. And so if they're struggling with their resumes so much, why don't we bring in an arsenal of qualified resume writers to give people feedback? And so you'd be surprised how many times I'll look at a resume, give somebody feedback, see them again in a couple of weeks, and their resume looks exactly the same. Exactly the same. So you didn't take any of the inputs from the person who studies this and really delves into the mechanics of resume content and format and structure. You didn't take any of that advice. You continue to do what you've always done, but this time you expected a different result. And when it didn't surface, you thought it was because you were Black or Latina or whatever. Okay. And again, it usually, at least 8 times out of 10, has very little to do with the color of your skin. All right. So I'll tell you, when I first started as a career manager or resume writer, I was still a full-time engineer. And so I didn't expect anybody to just give me their business. I knew I had to earn it. How was I going to earn somebody's trust? How was I going to earn the trust of a person who was in the midst of career transition with very little experience writing other people's resume? How was I going to earn that kind of trust? Some of the things that I did specifically, and I hope that you are taking notes, is I joined up with a professional organization. I jumped in and started to volunteer, and I started to ask, hey, I started to do contract work for other resume writers. I just wanted to get better and better and better and better at that thing. And so it wasn't something that just was all of a sudden I snapped my fingers and here, boom, here, all the opportunities, look at them come rolling in. That wasn't the case at all. I had to earn the right to ask people for significant dollars for me to write their resumes for them, for me to help them with their interview strategy, for me to help them negotiate their salary. I had to have some data, some evidence that I was effective doing it before somebody would be willing to pay me money for it. And so if you are lacking experience in a certain area, don't shy away from volunteer work. Don't shy away from internships. Don't shy away from independent projects, and certainly don't shy away from joining in with professional organizations. I came into the Resume Writers Council of Arizona as a brand new baby resume writer. All I had was a book and a dream. That's all I had. And fast forward, it's been 12 years. I have served as the president of the Resume Writers Council for the last 5 years. That's not an accident, though. That is not an accident. So at the beginning, I wasn't the president on day one, and it had nothing to do with the fact that I was Black. It had something to do with the fact that this was a new territory for me, and I had to earn my way up the ranks. Okay. Julia, questions on this before we jump into the next topic?
The one that jumped out is, can anybody get an internship without being a student?
Yes. Yes. Grown people, adults, 70-year-olds, 17-year-olds, and anybody in between, you all can pursue internships as well. One of the things right before the pandemic and everything, I was actually in talks with Grand Canyon University, which is where this event is typically held. And they have a school of business development and something. And I was working with them to use one of their students as an intern for Push Career Management. And so I never at any point in time said, is this student, 20 years old? It didn't matter to me. I said, does this student have the skills that I'm looking for? Do they have experience in this area? Do they have these things, these talents that I need? Their age was never a point of discussion. Never. Their race was never a point of discussion. Their gender was never a point of discussion. The one thing that I probably did care about was, are they comfortable traveling to my office because I live X? Are they comfortable with that kind of a commute? That's all that I cared about. Okay. And so listen, ageism, this is also an extremely real thing. And I'll tell you how I know it's a real thing, but it is an extremely real thing where people will for whatever reason. I have some challenges by the time we're done today. I have some challenges. I'm gonna really hopefully open your eyes to some things that you can do if you have ever considered not hiring somebody on the basis of their age, their race, their gender, or what other factor. But these things, much like racism, ageism it's one of those things that absolutely shouldn't happen, but happens all the time. It happens way too often. And just over the course of many years, I consider it a privilege. I've had the privilege of working with so many that were in their 60s even, but they had years in their working lives left, and they had the desire to work. They had the desire to earn income and fend for themselves and not just survive on Social Security and Medicare. That is not everybody's pathway. And if you have the desire to work and you have the skill to do this job, then why are we still having these conversations? So I tell y'all, I'll share with you, how do I know that age discrimination is real? Let me tell you how I know. Because I was sitting in I met with someone for coffee. I'm not gonna name the names or anything like that, but I met with a recruiter for coffee because I like to interact and have, and build relationships with recruiters just because of the reciprocal nature of our work. Well, this particular recruiter, and she said it almost, I think, without realizing that she'd said it. And she said, we're having such trouble sourcing candidates under 55. Right? So if you just reacted the way that my facial expression led on, that's exactly, I was taken back. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean under 55? Why under 55? And right. Somebody just said, ouch. Yeah, ouch. That hurt me. I'm not even in that category, and that hurt me to hear, to witness, to be across the table from. And so, hold on, I'm trying to advance the slide here. And so then the stigmas came. Why is it that people have a tendency to discriminate against people over a certain age? And these are some of the thought processes that have emerged. People over a particular age tend to have outdated skills and are tech limited, tend to be inflexible, very rigid, very set in their ways. They'll say things like, that'll never work. We've always done it like this. This is the mindset around, this is why we don't like to hire folks over 55 or over whatever age, whatever threshold you set. Those people aren't very motivated. They're so near retirement. They're just looking for something for the next year to coast, and then they're going to check out because they're ready to be retirement. They require so much pay. I can get the same kind of skill set a heck of a lot cheaper than the kind of salary that they can command after 30 plus years of working in an industry. And the secret codes that you'll hear that might be a clue are that you're not a good fit or that you're overqualified. But these are the reasons. I don't agree with these reasons at all. I think they are disgusting, right? How dare you assume these things about me? But let me tell you, sometimes they're not assuming it. Sometimes it's you are not articulating that you can be these things, that you can grab a hold of the newest, latest, and greatest technology, that you can learn new things, that you are flexible. And so these things fall then on you to participate in social media and not say, oh, this newfangled social media. I'm not and you call it the Facebook and the internets and all these different things. We can't behave like that and then expect employers to somehow just give us a break. They'd have to completely train you on things that the general population just knows. Okay. And so look, you having to keep your skills current. Yes, it's hard work, but this is exactly why my company is called what it's called. It's Push Career Management. It's Do the Work Career Management. When you invest in yourself, when you take classes, when you attend conferences, when you read books, when you share articles on LinkedIn, when you demonstrate that you understand the landscape of your industry, that you know what's coming next, that you have adapted to the technology that's in play, and that you are a plug and play kind of solution, I want you on my team. But if you are not plug and play, and what I mean by that is if I have to sit there, if I have to train you for 6 months, and then I have to show you how to do it again because you forgot, and if you're not taking notes, and then if you're so combative at every meeting, these things are the reasons that older generations are getting a bad rap. And so if that sounds like you even a little bit, I want you to consider these solutions. With the primary solution, be excellent. Who can argue with someone who is absolutely excellent in their work? Excellent. And I think last year I shared this example, and I'm going to share it again because it was so good. There was a show, now it's a little older now, but there was a show I used to watch called Bones, and I don't know if you've ever seen it. But the main character in the show, Bones, she's like this genius forensic pathologist kind of person or anthropologist person. She's best in the world, highly regarded. Her personality stinks. She's got like literally the personality of a doorknob, but she is amazing at the work that she does. And so people are somehow able to overcome their perceptions of her because of how excellent she is with the work that she does. And that is what I want you to grab a hold of, right? Don't just allow excuses to creep in. Look at this image of Ernestine Shepherd. Now, this was, again, last year, so she's probably 75 years old right now, but she looks probably better than many of us. She's 75. Did she say, well, I'm 75, I can't do that? No, she said, I'm 75, let's get it done. Exercising is my anti-aging pill. I can get this thing done. She's using energy. She's showing us that she can do these things. She's showing us her strength. And so she's using, again, very energetic language, offering recent examples. She's showing us how it is at her age, and she is looking good while doing it. And some of the things that I want this particular group of people who are being discriminated against to understand is that you need to offer recent examples. Don't rely on the I don't know, Windows 95 bullet point on your resume. It's time for that to go. It's over. It's dead. Okay. And then if you've like retired from the military, stop telling me you retired. We associate the word retirement with old age and just done. You've hung up your hat, you're done, you've checked out. And so if you're using that language in your resume materials, then is it all that surprising if you're not getting the calls back? If you're using at AOL.com email addresses, I hope that at this point, everybody is shifted away from AOL, but if you haven't, today is a very good day to make that adjustment. If your resume says things like, the very first line probably says, over 35 years of experience, I'm a seasoned something. What? Do you know that that language directly translates to older worker? And so you are giving them everything that they need to discriminate against you. And I want you to stop putting it out there. Give them an opportunity to meet you, fall in love with you, the person, and not you, the resume. And so, yes, I saw somebody say 10 plus years. For me, 15 is about the threshold. And so instead of 35 years, I'll say 15 plus, because that also captures 35. Okay, we do not need to say seasoned, results oriented. Showcase some of the actual results. Don't tell me that you graduated in 1973. Don't tell me these things, because you need to understand that certain employers are absolutely holding that against you. Keep that in mind. But now, hold on now. Hold on now. I have a message to employers right now. A message to employers. I am calling you out. If this has ever been you, if you have ever, even in the back of your mind, maybe you didn't blatantly say it like that particular recruiter did, but it was in the back of your mind, we can't hire this person. They're 65 years old. What are they going to do? If you have ever even thought it, I want you to consider this. One day it's going to be you. One day it could absolutely be you. And would you want an encounter with a manager or a recruiter with that same kind of limited thinking on the other side of the table? And I would dare say you do not. So let's keep this stuff in mind, and really let's lean on other people. Let's lean on our network. Don't do it alone. Stop doing it alone. Stop hitting up against the same ceiling and then crying, woe is me. These solutions have been late, and I've listened. I have been checking in on these Career Connectors talks ever since they switched to virtual. I'm at like almost all of them because it's so convenient and I love it. And so I have heard people really just tell you like it is. I heard folks talking about, shifting your mindset. I heard folks talking about like the ABCs of just kind of job search and kind of going back to kindergarten. Like, look, this is how you do it. Don't say this, do that. And these answers, they're everywhere. I'm not telling you anything particularly new, but I'm telling you things that you've probably heard before and you've never done. So stop trying to do this thing by yourself and embrace the fact that networking is the name of the game. Okay? If we are not creatures who are meant to do life alone, and certainly not job search alone. Like I said at the beginning, job search is way harder than it needs to be. And since we know that, why don't we do some things to try to make this process a little bit easier? Sometimes you know somebody and you think that they can't even help you, but you don't know who that person knows. You don't know that my husband is a leader in the call center space. And so if you wanted to be in a call center, you would think, I'm not going to call Brenda because she's not in a call center. How could she help me? But you don't know who I have access to. You don't know who's in my professional network, who I have maybe some even level of influence over. And so come on and stop hiding out. I have said this same phrase at least a half a dozen times just in the last week. Stop being the world's best kept secret. Your LinkedIn profile headings, all they say is seeking new opportunity, but you are not telling me who you are, what you do, what you can do for me. You're not using the summary section in LinkedIn. You don't have a photo. Your resume hasn't been modified or customized to meet the vocabulary of the employers. All this information has been given to you over and over and over again. And now it's just a really good day to start using it. And if you have no idea what to do, then reach out to someone who does. Career Connectors has made coaches and resume writers available to you guys. And so make sure that you're using those resources, but don't just use them, right? Don't just have a conversation with these coaches. actually implement the things that they're talking about. It. We've tried it your way and it's not working. Perhaps it's a lack of marketing and not your age, not your race, not your even lack of degree. Okay, so stop trying to do this thing alone. All right, I want to say this, and I have quite a few conclusions that I want to go through, so bear with me, and I hope that I'm saying a couple of things that truly, truly resonate with you guys, that will start to cause, like I said, some shifts in a new direction. First and foremost, if you walk around all the time saying, nobody is giving me a chance because I'm old, because I'm Black, because I'm a woman, you are sabotaging yourself. You are not doing any harm to anybody but you. And so change your mind about the words that you're saying. It's not that they're not giving me a chance because I'm older. They're not giving me a chance because I'm Black. It's probably because my resume needs some work. What can I do to get my resume up to speed and modernized and contemporary? What can I do there to really showcase that I am a good fit for this position? Get some folks actively cheerleading for you, advocating for you, and really stop trying to do this thing by yourself. It's a hard enough journey. Even with advocates, you certainly do not want to try to go this thing alone. Now, that does not mean call people 10 times a week and ask them, did they circulate your resume? That's not what I'm talking about there. I'm talking about earning the right to ask some trusted relationships to help support you by circulating the resume, and then following up at an appropriate frequency, maybe every couple of weeks, certainly not every day. And then ask yourself this question: do you really even want to work with somebody who would discriminate against you? Okay. And so at the end of the day, we spend 70% of our waking lives at work. And I, for one, will be darned if I'm at a place where my presence is unwanted, where I feel like I'm constantly being singled out or what have you. Let them show you who they are, and then you listen, you believe them, and you consider it a blessing if someone says no and they secretly know it was because you were Black, or they secretly know it was because you were 60, or they secretly know it was because you were a woman. Let them help you to avoid a working environment that is toxic and hard for no good reason. Let them exclude you on the basis of their ignorance. Okay. All right. Couple of things I want to say here. So I'm gonna keep this screen up for a moment, but I'm gonna run through some other thoughts. And I, again, hope that they resonate with you. I'd love to hear your comments and questions. Employers, don't fear an ethnic sounding name. Don't fear it. Don't fear it. Don't run away from it because you think that this person is too Black or too Indian or too whatever. Don't keep me from the front lines of customer engagement because my hair looks different. Did you understand that the Crown Act was just signed into legislation very recently? This is still an issue, an ongoing issue, especially in this country. Don't keep me from the front lines and don't keep me from opportunity because of the way my hair looks. Don't assume I haven't kept up with technology because I'm 60, but on the same token, if you are 60, make sure that your resume reflects your connection with today's technology. Don't be part of the problem, be part of the answer. And so if you do have an opportunity, if you are in leadership, speak up in the meeting, say something when you witness bias. And so I'm calling myself out. When that recruiter said what she said about 55 plus, I didn't speak, I didn't push back on her. I didn't challenge her. Had to do it all over again, I would absolutely call her out on it because today is a new day. And so when you have the opportunity to help enlighten someone, take it. Consider organizations, consider how you are measuring things like diversity and fairness. How are you incorporating that into the everyday processes and practices at your organization? Okay. Stop writing off how people are feeling right now. Don't combat the phrase Black Lives Matter with all lives matter. Yes, all lives matter, but today, the moment of the hour is violence against Black individuals. Question everything, right? If you have ever considered eliminating is a really good day to reshape the way you have been thinking about and approaching hiring and recruiting. Okay. I think about hair conditioner and how I have a tendency to look in the ethnic hair section of the different stores for my shampoo and for my conditioner, until a beautician actually showed me something that's not typically found in the ethnic section. She showed me something that's found in the mainstream part of the beauty products aisle, and it has been the best, absolute best conditioner for my hair. I have tried so many products over so many years, but that one was the absolute best, and I would have been blinded to it if I didn't have somebody else advocating for this other solution. And so keep in mind that the thing that we're familiar with, the thing that feels most like us, the thing that makes us most comfortable may not always be the best solution. Okay? Don't just document your disdain on Black Lives Matter on social media about one form of injustice while you actively participate in another. Don't stand up for Black lives while you at the same time discriminate against people because they're over 55. I'm really challenging, I'm really pushing some buttons, and I hope I'm pushing your button. I hope you're hearing me. I hope I'm striking a nerve. Bottom line is, I don't condone any of these isms. Racism, ageism. Racism is the ism of the hour, but they're all wrong. And job seekers, just do your very best to keep your skills sharp, be honest about what you can do, and if you don't meet critical areas for the position, don't waste your time or theirs. I am all done. Thank you for your attention. If there are any questions, I don't know if I'm over time. Thank you for giving me time. And I so appreciate you all listening to the sound of my voice, and I hope that it did some good on this day. God bless you.
Yay, thank you, Brenda. I know everyone's clapping like this. This is for virtual. Thank you, thank you. Oh boy, okay, you know, when we do these programs, we do them to support people in career transition, and we have never feared away from tackling the tough stuff. And when we brought this topic to you 6 months ago or so, or maybe the first time you brought it, I thought, wow, what a presentation. This needs to be addressed. People are not addressing this directly. Instead, they're saying, oh, that's not really out there. I love how you're addressing this head on. We know that some of this is out there. And even in a time when it's so difficult, where our world feels so divided, and you are willing to take this on. And I just want to say thank you so much for talking about this, Brenda. You cover true, real information, but you cover it in hope. And you lay hope over it, and you give us actions on what to take. And I am so thankful you are here. We have an abundance of questions in the chat. We are over, but I wasn't stopping you. I was not pulling the plug on this one. So Brenda will address, if you could jump over to the chat, Brenda, and just start looking through some of those questions and answering them. Again, thank you. Thank you so much for being our friend. Thank you so much for addressing this difficult topic today. We love you. All right, we are going to move over to our hiring companies. And Robert, aren't you super excited to talk now that right after Brenda's talk?
I know, I have to follow that up. Come on now.
So I'd like to introduce you to Robert Zammit. He has recently accepted the role of Director of Talent Acquisition at Desert Financial. His background includes over 20 years in the recruiting industry, working in education, marketing, energy fields, to just name a few of them. He is a graduate of the University of Phoenix and has a master's in industrial and organizational psychology from Argosy University. So please help me welcome Robert to our call today.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Career Connectors team, Jessica, Sheila, Julia, Diane. This is for the invite, and Brenda. That was amazing. That was an awesome keynote. A lot of great, valuable information. So I truly appreciate it. I think I'm going to take over driving here in a second. Oh, look at that. I have the power. All right. So as it was mentioned, I just recently started with Desert Financial here. So I'm really excited to, 4 weeks in, get a chance to tell you a little bit more about the organization, kind of where we came from and who we are. So Desert Financial has started, was established back in 1939. Many of you may be familiar with Desert Schools Financial back in the day. Recently went through a rebrand. But reason for that is we were started by 15 teachers back in 1939 with $78.75 in their pocket. Today, we are a $5 billion organization with over 300,000 members that we're continuously growing and expanding. Today, one of our biggest goals in this amazing time to join Desert Financial is the fact that we have this goal by 2025 to hit 500,000 members. And this isn't just, people opening checkings and savings accounts. This goes into our consumer, our lending, and more importantly, some of our new tech subsidiaries, SwitchThink, that we'll talk about here in a second. So the organization, Desert Financial itself, there we go. Kind of who we are as an organization. One of the reasons why I joined this organization is their mission, vision. This is truly a company that walks the talk when it comes to how focused we are on the members of our business as well as our employees. And at Desert Financial, the relationships that drive success, we share that success because we believe it's the right thing to do for our members, our community, and our team. And quite honestly, I've started this role obviously in the middle of this pandemic and have had a chance to meet 2 of my team members for less than 20 minutes in the office. And I've already felt part of the family. But one of the things that really attracted me in my first week here, going through employee lists and looking at tenure within the roles, that we have an average tenure here of over 10 years. We have people that have been here 24 years. A handful of the assistant vice presidents that I've had a chance to talk to have been here and started as a teller and are now assistant vice presidents over major verticals within our organization. This is definitely a family-based environment, but we are continuously growing, continuously investing in our employees to learn and develop and grow within this organization. So our vision is that passion is creating that exceptional experience through the financial solutions that make lives better. And truly, this is our story and our journey to help educate future members as to why credit unions, are the underdogs when it comes to some of these national banks. But why are we in the on the field? Why are we competing right now? And really, it's that commitment to our members. Going to a bank that's supported or overseen by elected board members that are profiting off the back end, or looking at those volunteer members that are really here focused on building an organization based on our members' needs, and whether you have millions of dollars in the bank as a business or whether you're just starting off with your first checking account, this is an organization that's really invested in that member success. And the values we bring to the table, that personal drive, the passion to help, the big thinking, the team mindset, the people smarts, that contributes to every member, every employee within Desert Financial. That's 80% of our performance reviews. It's our values that we bring to the table and how we partner and collaborate with everyone across the organization. And again, one of the big reasons why I took the jump and went from a Boston tech company to a local credit union here in Arizona was an organization that really walks the talk when it comes to that. Now, the structure of Desert Financial, a lot of people don't know, is Desert Financial, we are, the brand name that everybody's pretty familiar with in the Arizona market, but we have 3 subsidiaries that are currently separate entities from Desert Financial. Defined Mortgage Solutions, Desert Financial, our wealth management vertical, but the big one that just came up recently within the last few years was SwitchThink. It's our own tech company. Came out of requests from smaller credit unions around the US, where we're actually expanding, building a SaaS product that's considered a bank in the box. It's an opportunity for a lot of these smaller credit unions where they don't have the investment to invest, very heavily in their technology and the tools that they use for transactions and lending. And we're actually using our platform, boxing it up, and actually without any sort of sales and any sort of outbound efforts, we already have nearly 50 credit unions across the US that have just signed up for this product. And this is something that's part of our big growth plan over the next few years here. So outside of just Desert Financial, there are many verticals that we're focusing on and where the growth is going to happen, right? All right, so a little bit about kind of who we are and kind of some of the core things that we invest in, and again, that relate to both our community as well as our members as well as our employees. One big one here is the sharing success. We are a not-for-profit. That doesn't mean we don't like to make money. We love to make money. We're a business at the end of the day. But the difference there is, where does that money go at the end of the day? And part of being a non-for-profit is putting that money back to both our employees as well as our members and back to the business. And last year we put $12 million back to our customers, meaning just based on the level tier relationship you have with us, from checking accounts to lending products to consumer products. Those $12 million that was given back to our customers last year alone. In addition to that, it's also our team bonus. Internally, as an employee, everybody in the business is eligible for a team bonus that's based on our success on an annual basis, that you have that opportunity for. Now I'm going to go to my notes here because I wrote these things down. Again, mind you, I'm only 4 weeks into this role. But when we think of lifelong learning, Brenda had some great points in terms of what is that commitment that you have towards your education and really proving and showing that work. Our CEO, Jeff Mishi, is a lifelong learner. He is consistent. I mean, since I've been here, I think I've received 2 books already that's been recommended from him about read this. This is great. It matches up with our vision. But our investment for paid tuition for our employees, but also payback of current student loans that you currently have, is a commitment that we have towards our employees. That's a huge investment around that lifelong learning. Also internally, we have amazing online resources for ongoing learning, whether it's little webinars, little 30-minute training sessions for individuals that want to cross-train and learn a new profession, or just want to strengthen their ability within their current roles. We're currently on a mission over the next 18 months to really get really strong with our job architecture. So we look at the job ladders and the investment, making sure we have very clear paths as to what do I need to learn to get to this field. How do I move from going into personal banking and I want to get into lending? These are things that we want to be able to, again, build that internal infrastructure of employees that we invest in from that lifelong learning. And we want that passion brought to the organization. So no matter what your level is, no matter what your education is you bring, you look at our job descriptions, and 9 times out of 10, outside of our very technical specific roles, we have preferred education. We want someone who's committed to that journey and that path. And maybe you haven't had an opportunity to do that before. This is an organization that invests in that. The other piece is our give and grow. We are very big, just like hopefully most organizations within our industry. We are very focused on the community, from volunteer hours of 7,800 hours that we volunteered back in 2019, as well as over $2.3 million that we've given back for various charitable events, from focusing on the Red for Ed and focusing on our teachers, or whether it's to just random acts of kindness programs that we have that go on internally. But going back to the sharing success, the big piece that we have in terms of our profitability goes back into our employees. So when you think of the benefits that we offer, if you're single, if you're the only person that you're requiring benefits for, it's 100% paid medical, dental, vision. You're eligible for that first of the month following your 30 days. We offer a 401k match that you're fully invested in day one, in addition to the tuition and the payments, as well as the loan payback type features. And quite honestly, when I was going on, like, hey, do we have a quick list of benefits that we offer that I can speak to? And they literally sent me a link, and we have 2 pages on our website, our internal website, showing all the different benefits we have for all of our employees, everything from education to healthcare to just various services that we pay for or offer contributions to. I found one that's for my daughter for signing up for sports that company offers $300 to pay for registration for our dependent sports activities. Like, those are the types of investments. It's very people-centric, it's very family-oriented, but it's an investment in a partnership and a collaboration where everybody wants to get better. Everybody wants to move to that next step. And it's such a strong and solid foundation that you just naturally feel part of the family coming into it. So with that, some of the opportunities that we're currently hiring for. If you hop onto our website, which will be the slide after this, I'll show you where you can go take a look. These are some of the 4 main key roles that we are currently looking for as of today. However, we have another 40, I want to say 46 the last time I checked, roles that are currently broken up between our different subsidiaries on our website that please feel free to go to and find out what kind of best matches your skill set. But for today, Desert Financial, our human resource business partner. Like I said, there's a lot of investment, not only on my team with some positions that are to come, but our HR business partner world, where we are building up that group to be more advisory to the business and really think strategically about how we build our talent within the organization. And then also looking at our contact center, personal banker, looking for inside sales, e-branch. Define Mortgage is looking for outside sales mortgage loan officer. And then Switch Think, our big one, main positions that we really have a strong focus on right now are our data warehouse analysts. But each of these, as well as our wealth management group, have about roughly, like I said, about 46 openings today on our website. So if and when you'd like to go learn a little bit more about us, please hop over to jobs.desertfinancial.com. This would be a great resource for you. And there's a little chat bot in the corner that you can enter your information and we'll get back to you. But I will be dropping my LinkedIn profile URL again in the chat. So if you want to connect and have any other questions or have any positions that you called out that you applied to, and I can move forward to one of my recruiters, please don't hesitate to reach out, right? I know we were already over time, so hopefully I stayed within that for everybody, but thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Robert, for being here. There's a couple questions in the chat if you want to jump over there and address those. And so Robert will be here for a few more minutes if you'd like to address, if you have any questions for him. And again, thanks. We really appreciate you being here today, Robert. All right, we're going to move over to Nick. Nick Belinsky currently serves as the Direct Placement Service Manager and Veteran Lead for the West Region for Tech Systems. As part of the Phoenix Workforce Development Board, Nick specializes in information technology workforce, assisting with the continued economic growth in Arizona through talent services. Nick has been a great advocate and such a supporter of Career Connectors. Thank you, Nick, for being here today. You're on mute. You're on mute, Nick. I see you trying. Is
that better?
There we go.
All right.
We hear you now.
Great. So I did have a very short presentation to show, and I'll highlight some of the things about our company, roles we have, areas we specialize, but really just kind of want to throw out the playbook a little bit in this setting based on the topic, and share some real stories briefly of the truth to these topics. And just yesterday, someone that I placed 3 different times at our customers is calling me yesterday and scared to death about their age discrimination in their final interview with a customer. And they've been so scared getting older that they've been having surgeries to try to make themselves look younger. It's real. It's out there. It does happen. And in my field in recruitment and workforce, my continued fight every day is to remove these barriers with companies and workforce that want to be together for who they are. So I say that kind of story to share and really just be transparent. It does exist. Even to the point where some of the things that I strive for and really look for in the community is someone that I've been working for and partnered with Maricopa Corporate Community College has a particular student that just graduated in a entry-level help desk program. They don't have a roof over their head. This month, they'll be starting at one of our customers for their first job in 7 years. These are the things that we're tackling every single day and trying to fight for, because a lot of individuals just want to work and feel belonged and loved. And it definitely hurts when you don't see it. Different emotion for each person. But again, this topic in trying to address these issues, our company's brand is Own Change. Mainly trying to take ownership and accountability of that type of change in every setting and environment. And that's something that at least I strive for, we're very passionate with, along with Career Connectors, Best Companies Arizona. We are trying to bring this community together and stronger every single day, and it is not easy. We need each and every person to look at the bright side and positive outlook of their job search, and companies that truly want to embrace that, and not spend so much time with companies that may have their doors shut because of various reasons, and focus on those companies that have open arms waiting for you no matter what. So with that said, I'll speak a little bit about our company, areas that we can help you in your job search, remove any particular Q&As that are on the discussion, as this is a real-time snapshot of our current workforce right now for our customers, as we do IT staffing and services and information technology. As of last week, we had almost 600 consultants working for our customers here just in Phoenix alone. And I broke down the areas based on kind of a division. Think about communications, TCOM, working in certain data centers, user end support, help desk, desktop technicians, applications, your software developers, anyone in SDLC, security side as well. So that's just kind of a quick snapshot. And if you're in your job search right now, these are the main core areas we specialize and focus on. We're not limited to these areas, but based on timing and the landscape itself, these were where we see most of our consistent workflow and demand. If you're feeling like you may be borderline or maybe touched any one of these areas, by all means, it's worth a conversation. I'm not going to have you fill out an hour application, only get an automated email. I'll set up a quick conversation with you. Usually I like to strive for a quick 24-hour turnaround on setting up an appointment, quick conversation, and point you in the right direction. But let me know if these are areas of an interest. Don't worry about trying to find the right position. That's why I like to just set up a quick conversation. That way you're not spending hours trying to find the perfect job. I can kind of help navigate that for you. I wanted to address this as well with COVID-19 and the kind of pandemic transition a lot of us are facing. Right now, every week, every day is changing. Right now, we're getting information about how these protests are affecting the cases that are coming out. Is that going to affect our death rates? Is that going to affect how we go back on site as a company? These are conversations that are ongoing every single day. So we talk about being adaptable and flexible. Most of the roles that we're seeing because of this are starting off as a remote 100% position, even though they still want individuals to sit in Phoenix or within a certain mile radius. We're seeing a lot of our customers just start off as a 100% remote workforce and looking to address what their stand is in the next 60, 90 days. So that's kind of the cause and effect that we're seeing right now in the job search and particular project-based work that we're seeing. And ways to really understand what that looks like. In the job search, having conversations with people that work at the companies you want to work for is crucial. LinkedIn, your strategy should be talking to people working at companies that you want to work for by simply just asking them what it is that they like about their job and how did they get their job. And if it was Stacy in HR, ask for Stacy in HR's information, get an introduction. It could be that simple. It just takes a little bit more of a gathering information and really just doing your homework first before you just start applying and spending hours just application after application. It's really gaining intelligence information on the companies and jobs that you're trying to seek. Next steps, I want to keep this as simple as possible. Let me help navigate you if you're looking for roles in these areas and save you time, but more importantly, just have a conversation. If for some reason my bandwidth is getting tied up in the next 24 hours, I'll let you know. Maybe we have a conversation on Friday, or I point you in direction of one of my colleagues within our company that could speed this up for you too. So I am happy and here to address any particular questions. I haven't been able to follow the chat so far, but if there's questions, let me know, Jessica or the team, and I'll be happy to address them.
Thank you, Nick. Yeah, there were a couple questions in the chat, so if you could jump over there and answer those, that would be wonderful. One of them is a lot around veterans. Nick is a huge advocate of veterans. He does a lot in our community for veterans and hiring veterans. So he would be happy to address that. So thank you, Nick. We really appreciate you being here today.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to go through a couple things to wrap us up today. Resources for you guys. One of those resources is a training and certification program. So you heard Brenda talk about some of this earlier today. CCA.training has a list of resources for you. And those resources are, some of them are funded and some of them are at a reduced rate. So the IT certifications, there are some IT certifications out there that are funded, but there are also low-cost certifications for project management, medical assisting, paralegal, business management, different things like that. So jump on that website, take a look, see if there might be anything of interest to you. All right. So I wanted to talk to you about, or we're going to talk to you or pop up some evaluation questions for you. And so Sheila is going to launch our poll. And if you see a poll come up on your page, then just answer that question. It's our way of getting feedback and having some evaluation information for us. If you have any other feedback, or our poll doesn't get launched, you can always email us at contact@careerconnectors.org. If you have a specific company you're looking for, if you have some additional information that you would like, just go ahead and email us. Sheila did launch the poll. The webinar registration was easy. Hit yes or no, and then the poll will go away. And then in a few minutes, a new poll will be launched. I also want to thank all of our partners. So we work with various partners throughout our community to make this program happen for you. And so some of them are listed on this. Brenda mentioned the Resume Writers Council of Arizona today. They're one of our partners. They volunteer their time to provide resume reviews to people attending our program. So I'm going to let you know how we do that in just a minute. All right. So this page is an incredible resource. I encourage all of you to go to bestcompaniesaz.com/resources. We have partnered with Best Companies AZ to go out, find the companies in the Arizona market, Phoenix metro area that are hiring now. And so we have 65, I think, that are linked with logos directly to their webpage. And then on the bottom half, we have an additional over 120 companies that are listed there that with their job links. But those top 65, we have actually talked to and we have verified their jobs and their hiring. So I encourage you to take a look at that. There's additional resources out there for you as well. All right, so the next page is around some additional resources we have for you. First of all, if you've never taken the DISC assessment, we have partnered with Top Talent Consulting to get this DISC assessment to you at no cost. It's normally about $99. And so it's a 24-page report, and it'll tell you about your communication style. It'll tell you about your ideal work environment. So it's a fantastic tool. You can incorporate much of the words from that assessment into your resume. One of the words that I've heard that I love is a creative problem solver. That's one I've seen a couple times. And just dumping those words onto your resume mixed with an accomplishment can really give your resume an uplift. Look at being able for you to change it up a little bit. Also, we will be putting this event on our website today, but also we recap the content. So we write it out in a blog, and that will be available on our blog site right there. And then you can see all of our social media channels, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram that we primarily use, and also Twitter. So if you are connected on any of those platforms, we'd love to connect with you there. All right, so next is our coaching program. And so each of our coaches, we have what we just call an arsenal of coaches, have volunteered their time to provide 10-minute consultations. And so maybe you're looking at your LinkedIn profile and something's not jiving for you. Something doesn't sound right. You're not sure how to title. You're not really sure how to make a connection. Fill out this form. It'll take you a minute. It's a quick form asking your name and what kind of consultation you would like. You just click the boxes, and then Beth, our awesome coordinator, will connect you with a coach. These are professionals that know the field. And so if you want your resume reviewed, do the same thing. Click resume review, and we will have somebody from Brenda and her team at the Resume Writers Council of Arizona meet with you and take a look at your resume. Career coaching, not sure what your next step is. Maybe you need some interview coaching. You're getting ready to go into an interview in the next couple days and you want some coaching on that. We also have a financial coach. So if you want to talk about rolling your 401k, or what are your options right now? Do you have some budget questions? Gian would love to help you with that. So all of that coaching is available on that form. All right, we also, in our next events I wanted to talk to you about was next week, Jackie Sharon. She is a director of talent acquisition with Dignity Health. She is going to talk about expert tips on how to navigate the applicant tracking system. So you guys heard today the word ATS, the acronym ATS. Applicant tracking system is the system that the resumes go into, your application goes into, and that's screened. And so people are always asking us, how do I get through that? How do I go around the applicant tracking system? We have to go through it in most cases. And so Jackie's going to tell us how to get through it, how to get through the applicant tracking system so your resume is looked at on the other side. We also have Hartford and Dignity Health as our hiring companies right now. On June 17th, Abby Kohut is going to be here, your job search 2020, thrive rather than survive. And Abby Kohut has been on a mission for the last 11 years to help over 1 million people find jobs. And she is amazing. She lives in Jersey, and she's going to be speaking to us on the 17th. Honor Health and State Farm are the hiring companies that day. And June 24th, we're still waiting on our confirmation on our speaker. We have Health BL that's going to be our one of our hiring companies that day. So watch your email. You'll get an email every Monday morning that will tell you what's coming up for the week. If you did not register for this event, but you are looking at it on Facebook, or you got the Zoom information in another way, make sure to go to our website and click subscribe. It's you can see on this slide right here, it says Career Connectors Update, subscribe here. If you are subscribed to our emails, you will get that email every Monday morning that tells you about the events coming up. Okay, so on this is our homepage. And there are 3 ways we are providing content right now. The first one is I'm doing 2 to 3 times a week a career chat. These are 3 to 5 minute talks about something going on right now, something to help you in your job search. So those are all posted there. We are also doing about weekly community updates. And these are experts in their field, their community resources, various topics, and they're about 20 minutes to a half-hour talks, interviews with people like the director from DES, with the Resume Writers Council of Arizona, with a crew. We had 3 LinkedIn experts last week. So various different topics, a lot of content and information there. And then the webinar, which you're on today, will get posted right on that CC Webinars tab. So you guys, here are the volunteers that have helped us today. And there's just too many to name, but Susan is doing our blog. Julia is behind the scenes helping with all the technology and answering your questions. The resume writers, the career coaches, Beth is connecting people through the coaching program. There's so many people to thank. It's truly hundreds of people that make this program happen. So waving, clapping for all of you in a virtual format. Thank you, thank you, thank you for doing what you do to make this program happen for thousands across our, well, city usually, but now our country. So thank you. And with that, I just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for listening and handling a tough topic today and doing it in grace. And we are praying for all of you that you will land into the career of your dreams. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.